Mr. Chidambaram, kindly ask a simple question to yourself and satisfy us. Why you cannot measure up to the expectation which you could show even in 96, 97, the most critical state of coalition politics? There is something seriously missing. Maybe the government is not in a position to do anything, or maybe the left hand proposes something, the right hand disposes. Let me come to the issue of this sliding rupee, a matter of very, very serious concern. I hardly need to emphasize that it is a direct byproduct of the current account deficit and the way the economy has been managed. Now the RBI has tightened liquidity, it has its own problems for further development, making life difficult for private sector more. But in the Standing Committee of Finance, we had occasion to examine this situation of the state of economy. And at times, the Ministry of Finance, when it appears before the Standing Committee of Parliament, is constrained to speak the truth. We had asked this question, and there was a reply from the Ministry of Finance, Department of Economic Affairs, which is a part of the Standing Committee report on the state of economy. We did last year. Likely reasons for rupee depreciation: the sharp decline in rupee, among others, indicated supply-demand imbalance in the domestic foreign exchange and market, as there has been slowdown in FII inflows. And then one point is important. Apart from the global factors, there are several domestic factors which have added to the weakening trend of the rupee, which include increasing current account deficit, high inflation, and declining capital inflow because of weak growth prospects. Therefore, even the Ministry of Finance was constrained to concede before the Standing Committee, Honorable the Finance Minister, that there is weak growth prospect. Why this weak growth prospect? I know FDI, foreign investment, has become an issue with this government. I'll come to that little separately. I have to address a lot on that. But I think a man of your sterling experience would know surely that FII is hot money. It comes and goes. FDI is stable money invested in infrastructure or investment in development or production. Now, hot money like FII comes quickly and goes quickly. They want to earn certain interest. They want to say good returns. And if they say growth prospect is not comfortable, they withdraw. Now what has happened is, once they realize that the story of India is over, there is lack of trust, there is lack of credibility, they started going back quickly and quickly. I was just going through a report, Honorable the Finance Minister. It is a very latest report, maybe 1 year earlier, June 2012. Ease of doing business rank. It is a World Bank report. How comfortable is to do business? India is ranked 132. Pakistan is much above us, rank 107. Sri Lanka ranks much above all of us, is 81. Why is it that investors, not only in India, even outside, are having a problem in having that trust in your ability and credibility to deliver? I come to that question again, Honorable the Finance Minister. If Indians are not willing to invest in India, why is it that foreigners will come here? Last year you announced FDI in retail. We had our problems, we had opposed. It was completely ignored. You have got the right in a parliament, I can never say that. But you have not been able to get even 25 naya paisa in FDI in retail. I would be happy to be proved wrong. But not even a single penny has come. And you will constrain to lift the two embargoes, namely 10 lakh plus urban centers and 30% local outsourcing. Even thereafter, people are not trusting. A couple of months ago, I had occasion to go to Mumbai to address an international investors conference. Mostly they invite all of you, but occasionally they invite Mr. Jaitley and me also. So it was my turn to address them in Mumbai. I asked them a very frank question. How are you taking India? And Honorable the Finance Minister, they said very frankly, we have closed the file. We are waiting for elections. It was a very honest answer. I must tell you, I am opposed to your politics. But as an Indian, I want my country to grow. That's what legacy NDA has left, where Arunji, myself and others had the privilege to work. And if this is the impression of India, it is a sad day for India. And that saddened me enormously. Now, I talked about productive investment. It needs three things. Quick clearance of all the requirements. Policy paralysis absence, no policy paralysis. And a transparent regime. How many projects have been locked up by the Environment Ministry? I'm all for environmental clearance. But is it important that you have to sit with the Prime Minister to request the Honorable Environment Minister to quicken the pace of approvals? If it is not required, reject it. If it is possible, do it. But no. I was just going through some of the statistics, and I was amazed to find there is an empowered group of ministers which is supposed to monitor delayed approval of schemes, the Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation. And the report of last year of May, June, Honorable the Finance Minister, I'll be grateful if you can be a little attentive. Honorable the Finance Minister, you even know it? Can I seek your attention? It is very important. The Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation, the report of month of May 2012 says out of 564 projects of 150 crores and above, only 3 are ahead of schedule. 133 are on schedule, 251 are delayed, and delays imply a cost overrun of 19.5%. Now this is happening. Now kindly see the index of industrial production. What is the position today? I'm latest figure of June 2013. It is a contraction, a growth of minus 2.2%. You are in minus. Honorable, the LOP has always raised this issue. The level of capital good production is an important barometer of the extent of industrial development. What is that? Capital good production is contracted, had a growth of minus 6.6%. Indians are not investing in India. Foreigners are not investing in India. And the industrial production has come to this scenario. Honorable the Finance Minister, private sector is not investing in India. Now let me come to public investment. There is no public investment also. I would like to know where major investments have been made. I was going through your budget speech of the last year, and to bring down the fiscal deficit from 5.2%, Honorable Finance Minister, you took a cut of planned expenditure by 92,000. Is it right? Therefore, the situation has become so compelling that you were compelled to reduce planned expenditure by 92,000 crores. I don't know if private investment is not coming, Honorable the Finance Minister, if public investment is not coming, if Indians are not investing, if foreigners have a problem, how would the growth story of India shine? That is indeed a very important issue which I would like to highlight. What is the position of banks? I have been told, Honorable Finance Minister, I will be happy to be proved wrong, that 7 lakh crores of projects, about 5.5 crores in coal and 1.50 lakh crore in highway are locked up. Is it a fact or not? I would like to be told. What is the position of banks? I was reading the statement of Mr. Subba Rao, the RBI governor. In the last 2 years alone, the NPAs of top 10 public sector banks have doubled from rupees 70,000 crores to 1,40,000 crores. Therefore, top national banks are having this much of NPA. How much of load can you take? There is problem of current account deficit, there is problem of fiscal deficit, the FDI is drying up, the FII is running away. This is the level of NPAs of our own nationalized banks. Therefore, the entire state of economy is in a very critical condition. I don't know what magic wand you have. You would like to know that. And if your magic wand could not operate for 4.5 years, Honorable the Finance Minister, how would it operate in the coming 5-6 months? We would like to be told very clearly and categorically. Two quick issues: unemployment and this poverty reduction. I know yesterday you have come with some notifications, raising up duties here and there, some cosmetic changes were made. When $60 billion worth gold have been imported, you have raised the duty. I don't know if it's going to impact the state of economy or not, I don't know. But in my very considered view, they are window dressing. They do not address the substance of the problem. But let me come to the whole unemployment issue. Today, Mr. Rudy was raising that question in a very eloquent way while he asked a supplementary. But Honorable the Labour Minister couldn't even understand that question. Now, NSS data is on record. Between 2000 to 2003, 82 lakh employment and self-employment opportunities were created on average each year. And only 4 lakh jobs were created during the UPA 1 regime, compared with 12 million annually during the NDA regime. It is not my statistics, it is the statistics of NSS data. In fact, according to NSS data, the employment rate has actually declined in the 5-year period ended on 2009-10 to 39.2% from 42% in 2004-5. Therefore, manufacturing is down, industrial production is down, export-import is down, unemployment is down. Only one thing is up, two things are up: price and deficit, current and fiscal both. This is the state of your economy. After all, we are very proud of our young population, but they are entitled to at least proper job opportunities. Your government has been talking about the Aam Aadmi's concern frequently. Now, what is the condition of Aam Aadmi? Whether it is price rise, whether it is a stable life, whether it is a life which is transparent regime, trust. Honorable the Finance Minister, I have not been a Marxist, but one expression has impressed me: crony capitalism. I don't know Marx ever realized that his crony capitalism would become an important figure and feature in the politics of Congress like UPA. Whether it is 2G, whether it is Colgate, whether it is Augusta Westland, whether it is so many others, Commonwealth, crony capitalism has come to rule. And why it has happened? I know you are a very experienced finance minister. I know you are you have been a senior leader in the politics of the country. Why you all could not control? Which were the forces giving so much of freedom to these crony capitalists to completely play havoc with the system? Let me give you one example, and that is very important. Regardless of the 2G problem, when the GOM headed by you put 3G for spectrum for auction against a target of 35,000 crores, the government earned a profit of 67,000 crores. And the WLL, again you earn 30,000 crores. Therefore, 1 lakh crore of neat profit was made in the year 2009-10 when the 2G was there.